Hi, I'm going to go ahead and record our class for today, reflections. So this is day 2, we're called reflections. Another word for reflections is mirror, image. Okay, so when you take a look in the mirror, there's a reflection going on, and we can actually plot you and plot your mirror reflection. Okay, and so go ahead and put your name there, and today's date is Monday, and that's October 21. That way you can kind of keep track of where we're at with this lesson. Okay, so the new term today, yesterday we learned about translations, today reflection. This is another Unit 3 transformation. Remember on Friday we told you transformation meant change. We're changing the shape. So translation, we were sliding or moving it. Reflection means that we're going to do a mirror image across a line of reflection. So I don't know if you have a highlighter or you have another pen color or pencil, but when you start seeing these lines, this is called your line of reflection. Okay? And over here again, same terms. That's your pre-image, the guy before, and the guy after is the image. Notice, I'm going to rewrite this so it's really big. These are all the primes. That's how you know it's the image. So let's fill in some of these blanks. A flip, when you take this figure and flip it over to the other side across a line of reflection, over a line called the axis of reflection, and there's going to be many different types of axis of reflection. Today we're going to cover going over the x and the y axis. So each point and its image are the same exact distance from the line of reflection. So if you remember translation, they always gave you like an x plus 4 or a y minus 2. And we're telling you how to go right to left, or left to right, or up or down. Okay? In this case, with reflection, you're always going to be measuring the same distance that it's from this line of reflection. So see how you can almost see C is the same distance from C prime, and B is the same distance from P prime from this line, and A is almost the same distance, exactly the same distance. Okay? And that's what this means. Possible lines of reflection is, well, reflect across the x-axis, will reflect across the y-axis, will also reflect across different lines, vertical and horizontal. They can come in the format of x equals, they say A, or y equals B. What is the A and B? Let's put some examples so that we don't get lost. You could have a line called x equals 2. You can have a line called x equals negative 2. You can have a y equals 1. You can have a y equals 3. Okay, so these are all just examples, and we'll go more about it on our third page of the notes today. And then there's the diagonal lines, okay? And just to be clear on who's the vertical and who's the horizontal, okay? If all your x's are 2's, okay, that means you're going to have a vertical line, okay? So when we're talking about a vertical line, that's when it's going to be like an x equals 2. When we're looking about a horizontal line, that means all your y's are the same value, and that could be the y equals 1. So I'm going to leave that with you. I don't want to focus a lot, but you're going to come back to this many, many times because it can get a little confusing how to draw your line. Okay? And so that's what this whole little sentence meant. We needed to put some extra info. But the diagonal lines, okay, I know that I've been sharing with you Miss Mona Lisa. If you remember that one line when it kind of went across this way, and Mona Lisa was here and Mona Lisa was over there, okay, diagonal lines can be in the form of y equals x, okay, or, oops, let me finish that, y equals negative x. Either one. Y equals x goes in this direction, and the y equals minus x goes in that direction. Okay? And if I were to be smart, I'll draw in your little coordinate plane for you. That's your x, that's your y, that's your x, there's your y. Okay? So, as you can see here, that is a diagonal, and again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. So let's do the first one. The first one talks about reflection over the x-axis. Okay? And if we want to highlight for you, okay, that this is your x-axis, and we've been kind of going over it for a few days to make sure you knew how to find your x and your y-axis. Remember that quiz you took? Okay? Here's your y, here's your x. But today we're going to reflect over the y-axis. Notice, it's like using a mirror. So we want to take this object here and reflect it down here. Okay? So, the first thing we're going to do is write down these numbers. Okay? And I'm going to go over here. Here's 0, 0, nice and clear. And I'm going to go over here and get to the A. The A is -1, 4. What's B? 5. And you go up to 4. C, 3 to the right and up. Whoops, 2 to the right. Kind of got a little ahead of myself. 2 to the right and up 2. So it's 2, 2. And D is -4, 2. Okay? Once you start with that, you can do it two different ways. One, you can use the rule. And we do have a rule for all of these on reflections. Okay, or you can just reflect. Do you see this? See how it's 2 units above this blue line? Well, just go 2 below, C prime. Do you see how there's 4 above? You go 4 below. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's B prime. Do you see how you have 2 above here? You go 2 below. So it's a straight down. Okay, and here's the A. 4 above, 4 down. And that's your A prime. D prime, C prime, A prime. And if you connect everything together, you'll see a nice little reflection going on. Okay? So, you're welcome to do it that way if you can remember that it's always the same distance from your line of reflection. Okay? And so, here we go. A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Okay? And over here, we're going to write in the numbers. So A prime is -1, -4. B prime is 5, -4. C prime, okay, is 2, -2. And then D prime is -4, -2. Okay? Now, I don't know, I give away Starburst, but for a Starburst, I like someone to tell me if you could figure out what the rule is for this. What is the rule when you want to reflect across the x-axis? Okay, what is the rule? Okay, so take a look at these numbers. -1, 4, -1, -4. 5, 4, what did you do? 2, 2 became 2, -2. -4, 2 became -4, 2. Okay? And actually that D, I just caught an error, should be -2. And I'm going to tell you why I caught the error. Because the rule is, you take all the x's from the original, write them down. And then you take all the y's and write them down, but you take the opposite sign. 4, -4, 4, -4, 2, -2, 2, -2. That's how I caught my little error there. Okay? So it's really nice to do it both ways, where you just kind of go mirror image and you go ahead and use the rule. So this is a very important rule. And in the next day, I'm going to give you a pink sheet that's going to give you these rules. I might as well just show it to you while we're on the camera. Okay? Right here on the very top of your transformation sheet, look. If you're going to reflect over the x-axis, there it is. You put the same x, you put the same y, but you take the opposite. And look, we're going to go over the y-axis. Well, guess what the rule is? It's still x and y, but you take the opposite sign of the x. Okay? So all your rules are here. You'll get to use this cheat sheet for your quiz. I'll double check if you get to use it for your exam, but for your quiz for sure. Here's the rule of translation. Okay, that's what we covered yesterday. So that cheat sheet will be available to you. so you don't have to look at my messy writing here. Now, let's do number 2 real quick. All right? And again, I'm going to go in here and use the rule. First, A is going to be, and please get in the habit, just go through your paper so it's nice and neat, and put parentheses, comma, parentheses, and leave lots of room because you don't know if it's going to be positive or negative. Okay, so A, it's 1, 5. B, it's going to be 8, 8. C, positive 9, positive 3. D, positive 3, positive 1. Always we were working to the right and up. That's how we know. Okay? Now let's go over here. What's the rule? For every value over here, because it's the same problem. We're still, I want to make sure you know that you have to read the directions. But here, problem number 2 is also reflecting across the x-axis. If you don't have a highlighter, can you please write x-axis really big? So you're going to bring this guy across here. You're going to flip him. Okay, so what's the rule? Take all the x's, write them down. 1, 8, 9, and 3. What do you do with the y's? Write all the numbers down. Just carefully write them down. And now look to change the sign. It's the opposite. It was positive, now it's negative, negative, negative. If you don't trust yourself, well, let's go prove it. You got to graph it anyway, so let's do it. A prime is 1, negative 5. Again, I am going to write A prime. I'm not going to get too fast, so I'll make errors. 8, negative 8 down here, and who is he? He's B prime. Okay, and now I'm going to take C, go 9, negative 3, and that's C prime. And then we're going to go 3, negative 1. Okay, and you could have done that all through just reflecting across my orange line. Okay, you didn't have to use a rule. The rule's there. You want to use it, but if you want to just go old-fashioned, and you would have gone, well, the original D's above 1, down below 1. C, above 3, down 3. Okay? The A, 5 up, 5 down. And the B is 8 up, 8 down. And then you just come over here and write the answers in. Okay? So that covers the reflection, and it says, what is the rule of reflection over x-axis? It looks like this. Okay, now let's go ahead and cover going over the y-axis. Okay, and what this looks like is this. Okay, for problem number 3 and for problem number 4, even though it doesn't give their instructions, they're both reflections over the y-axis. If you have a highlighter, highlight it. If not, write really big so that you know what you're dealing with and you don't get mixed up. Okay, well, you know there's a rule, but I like really reflecting. I think it's a lot of fun. Look, y. 2 units over, 2 units to the right, y prime. How many units is x from this gold line, orange line? Negative 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could have gone like this and not, but I just went across to make it a little easier. And then finally, z is negative 6, and here we go, and that's z prime. Okay, so I will go in here and draw a nice pretty picture, and voila, if you take a look, you now have a reflection. Okay, so let's go in and load the points. So x is negative 7. It goes up to positive 5. Okay, does everybody see how I'm going through that on the x and y? Okay, I told you you're going to be experts plotting. Y is negative 2, positive 8, and z should be a negative 6 and a negative 6. Okay, now I'm going to use the rule to put them in, and then we can go back and double check it. There is a rule. Okay, and it's second down here. Rule for the reflection. It is again x and y, but guess who changes the sign? The negative. So I'm going to write it up here. Negative x, y. Okay, so we're going to take all the values, and again, if you could just get in the practice of doing this, leaving a lot of space. I'm going to start with the y's. because there's no change in sign. So here I could just copy everything down directly. Now here, you have to look at the -7. It's telling you to change the sign to 7. Change the sign to 2, +2, and change the sign to +6. Now, remember how I said I wanted to double check myself? Double check. Okay? That's by, go to the graph. Let's go to y, let's start with z prime. Okay? The value for z prime is 6, -6. Let's see if you got it. You sure did. Boom. Y. Y prime. 2, +8. 2, +8. Got that one. And finally 7, +5. So the rule worked. This is the rule. Okay? All right, you like that? And number 4, we'll do it pretty fast because we got to get going here. But this is 1, 5. B is 8, 8. C is 9, 3. D is 3, 1. Okay, and if it's too fast, you just go ahead and hit a pause. I'm going to use the same rule because this is for the y-axis. Okay, and we're going to go over here and we're going to go -1, +5. Oops, I don't know why I did that. -8 and a +8. And this is a -9, +3, and this is a -3, +1. And let's go plot it. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go -1, +5, and that sure looks good because that's A prime. B is -8 and a +8, and that looks about right. I think this is the -8. Okay, and look, straight across, B prime. So that's looking good. So far, so good. And the D, let's do the C, -9 all the way to the end, up 3, I believe, without looking, because I'm going to shoot across here. And then right here, -3, +1, and voila, you got a perfect reflection, D prime. Okay, so get your little ruler out and connect some dots. Okay, all right. So we have finished the x-axis and the y-axis. Okay, tomorrow we'll go ahead and continue here with the rest of the lesson. And that should be enough for right now for you to get your homework done. Okay, so on the homework, you're going to work on pages 1 through, the first page, on the front page. First page of your homework. Okay? First page of your homework, which looks like that. Okay? All right, so give you maybe one answer there. All right, so good luck, and thanks for being in my class, and practice, practice, practice makes perfect.